I remember the sound of champagne glasses clinking and the soft hum of string instruments playing under fairy lights. It was our wedding night. People were laughing, dancing, toasting to love and forever. And I was smiling, outwardly. Inwardly, I was replaying the speech my best friend Elijah never gave. He was supposed to be my best man. He was supposed to stand beside me. But 2 days before the wedding, he called, said something had come up. Family emergency, he claimed, voice tense. I believed him, because that's what you do when it's your best friend of 15 years, when you've carried each other through college, bad breakups, and even worse hangovers. You trust. Emily, my wife, she didn't seem surprised when he said he couldn't come. In fact, now that I think about it, she looked relieved. I brushed it off. I had too much on my mind: tuxedos, seating charts, rehearsals, vows that made her cry. And now here I was, newly married, dancing with my bride, toasts echoing around us, while my best man was hundreds of miles away, missing everything we once dreamed of sharing. I didn't know it then, but he wasn't missing it. He was just hiding from it. The truth would come to me slowly, not in a single moment of chaos, but in quiet fragments, each one slicing deeper than the last. A week after the wedding, we were back from the honeymoon. Cancun, sunsets, cocktails, and a lot of pretending everything was perfect. One night, Emily fell asleep on the couch, her phone buzzing quietly next to her. I wasn't trying to snoop. Honestly, I wasn't. But the name that flashed across the screen made my blood run cold. Elijah. I hadn't heard from him since the wedding. No apologies, no explanation. Just nothing. Yet here he was, messaging my wife at 11:42 p.m. I stared at the screen. My hands trembled. I knew I shouldn't open it, but I did. I miss you. Still can't believe you went through with it. We'll talk soon. I promise. I didn't know how long I stood there. The room was silent, except for the quiet hum of the fridge. I wanted to believe it meant nothing, that maybe it was something from before we got together. But the way he said, went through with it, that stuck with me. I set the phone down like it was on fire. She stirred but didn't wake. I watched her breathe, so peacefully, so unaware that I was unraveling inside. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I thought about Elijah's absence, about his silence, about the way Emily smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. It could have all been nothing, but deep down, I knew it wasn't, and it was only the beginning. The next day, I left work early, told my boss I had a migraine, which wasn't a total lie. My head had been pounding since I read those messages. Emily had mentioned a prenatal appointment that afternoon. I offered to go with her. She said it was just a routine checkup and that she didn't want me to leave work early. But now, I had to know. I waited outside the clinic in my car, watching, breathing slow, forcing my pulse down. At 3:47 p.m., she arrived, but she wasn't alone. Elijah stepped out of the passenger side. I nearly opened the door and confronted them right then, but I froze. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard, my knuckles turned white. They didn't hug. They didn't hold hands. They just walked in, together, like it was normal, like it was their baby. I sat there for almost an hour. They came out, laughing at something. Emily touched her stomach. Elijah opened the door for her. Then they drove off, not toward home, toward his apartment. I followed them from a distance. When they parked, she didn't get out. He leaned in through the window, said something I couldn't hear, and she smiled. That smile. I'd seen it before. It used to be mine. I didn't confront her that night. She came home with takeout and a tired smile, talking about traffic and waiting rooms. I nodded, kissed her cheek, and went to bed early. But I couldn't sleep, because now the doubt wasn't just in my head. It had a face, a name, and maybe a child. A week later, I bought a paternity test. It sat in my desk drawer for 3 days. I couldn't bring myself to open it, because the moment I did, the doubt would become fact, and there'd be no way back from that. But then, Emily fell asleep on the couch. Her phone buzzed. A message preview lit up the screen. Elijah. He doesn't suspect anything, right? My heart dropped. Hands shaking, I took a deep breath, walked to the kitchen, and poured a glass of water. I didn't check the rest of the message. I didn't need to. That night, I swabbed my cheek and the test kits. I also found one of the ultrasound printouts, stuffed in the back of a drawer. It had Elijah's name, not mine, on the patient info line. I froze. It wasn't an accident. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't a lie Emily stumbled into. This was deliberate. I mailed the test the next morning, then waited. Every day after that was a performance, smiling at breakfast, listening to baby names, pretending like I wasn't crumbling. I stared at the front door more than I looked at her face, wondering if I'd walk out or kick her out. When the envelope arrived, I knew the truth before I opened it. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. There it was, a clinical number, a definitive period at the end of the sentence that had become our life. That night, I didn't wait for her to fall asleep. I sat at the kitchen table, test results in front of me, Elijah's text screenshot open on my laptop. I waited until she walked in after her prenatal yoga class. She looked tired, or maybe just annoyed. "Why are you up?" she asked, dropping her keys into the bowl by the door. "I have a question," I said, my voice even. "Whose baby are we celebrating next month?" She froze. "What are you talking about?" I slid the envelope across the table. She didn't touch it. Her eyes scanned the label, and I saw the moment she knew I knew. Tears welled up immediately. "Garrett, I didn't mean for this to happen." "But it did," I said coldly. She moved to sit across from me. "I was scared. Elijah, he was there when we had that fight. You were gone for hours. I was hurt. It was just once." "Then why did he text you last week?" I snapped, turning the laptop toward her. Silence. Her mouth opened, closed, and then the worst thing I've ever heard. "Because I love him." That broke me. Not the cheating, not the lies, but the ease with which she said that. "You love him," I repeated. "Then why the hell did you marry me?" She started sobbing. "I didn't want to lose you. You're stable. You're kind. You would have made a great dad. He's not that. But he's the real dad." She nodded. And just like that, every part of my future, our nursery, our family portraits, our plans, shattered. I didn't sleep that night. I laid on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to her cry in the bedroom we once shared. I wasn't angry anymore, just empty. By morning, I had made up my mind. When she came into the kitchen, red-eyed and silent, I slid a folder toward her. "Divorce papers," I said. She didn't look surprised, just defeated. "I'll co-sign any custody agreement you want," she whispered. "I don't want custody," I replied, staring into my coffee. "Because he's not mine, and I won't pretend anymore." She started to protest. "But you'll always be..." "No," I cut her off. "You made your choice the night you slept with him. I'm just finally honoring it." She broke down again, but I didn't comfort her. I left the house an hour later with nothing but a backpack, my clothes, my guitar, my peace of mind. I didn't need revenge, just distance. I blocked Elijah. I deleted every ultrasound picture. I canceled the baby shower reservation. And then I drove 3 hours to my brother's cabin by the lake. No signal, no reminders, just silence. And for the first time in months, I could breathe. A week passed at the cabin. Then another. I chopped wood in the mornings, read old paperbacks in the afternoons, sat by the fire with a guitar I barely touched. Some nights I cried. Others, I didn't feel anything at all. I didn't tell anyone where I was, not even my parents. I just needed to disappear for a while. Then one evening, I heard tires crunching gravel. My brother, he didn't say much, just handed me a six-pack and sat beside me on the porch. We didn't talk about her, or the baby, or Elijah. He just asked, "You eating?" "Mostly ramen," I muttered. He grinned. "Figures." That night, he made us steak and potatoes. Real food, real comfort. "I never liked him," he said casually, like talking about a bad neighbor. "Something about his eyes." I nodded. "You were right. You gonna be okay?" I looked out at the lake. Eventually. That was the first time I believed it. Not that the pain would go away entirely, but that I might outlive it. 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. No contest, no courtroom drama, just paperwork and silence. She moved to another state with Elijah. I didn't ask where. I didn't want to know. I sold the house, kept the cabin. It felt more like home anyway. Sometimes, in the quiet of the pines, I'd wonder what kind of father Elijah turned out to be. If he ever looked at the child and saw me. If he ever felt guilt, even for a moment. But I stopped checking. Stopped wondering what she posted, what they were doing, what their lives looked like now. It wasn't my life anymore. One day, I was walking along the edge of the lake when a kid, maybe 6 or 7, ran past with a kite. His dad followed, laughing behind him. It hit me then. The life I thought I had was never really mine to begin with. And that's okay, because now I get to build something real, from the ground up. No secrets, no betrayal, just truth. I'm not bitter, not anymore. I gave love, I gave trust, I gave part of myself. And someday, I'll give those things again, to someone who doesn't throw them away.